Welcome my friends to the Guided Dog channel. On this video we're going to be discussing a concept that is, well, it's a really big one. But in diving into this concept, we are hoping, as always on this channel, to gain better insight into ourselves in order to make ourselves healthier and have healthier relationships with our pets. So let's dive right into the video. In psychology, it's often said that as within, so without, which is to mean that what you surround yourself with and how you interact with those things is a reflection of what's within your inner landscape. And dogs are a very, very interesting thing because they have now evolved to be the only domestic creature that interact with us on such an intimate level that you can derive a lot about someone by learning how they feel about and care for their dog. It's a direct reflection of that person. It's basically like an extension of them. And we can say hi to Mr. Sleepy over there. So, having created such a dependent creature, we now have the responsibility of properly caring for them, not just for their own sake, but also to be sure that we are monitoring our own imbalances as they can be pushed onto our companions. And that's why dogs can be considered a mirror for ourselves. Our dogs can be considered a mirror for ourselves. So let's go through some examples of what I'm talking about. So on this channel we advocate a raw diet. Since this is known to be the healthiest thing for them, once you learn this, it becomes your responsibility to figure out a way to implement that. And no one is perfect, and knowledge takes a long time to acquire, so give yourself some grace. If you find, however, though, that you avoid the work of a raw diet for your dog because you think that it's too taxing, and you don't make progress on it on a regular basis, learning how you can implement that, and you choose to keep the dog for emotional reasons against the dog's best interest, then this is a huge lesson for you to take note of. It says that you are willing to keep a living being at the expense of its health for your best interest. And this is likely a pattern that you were taught. It may even be what you think love is, but it's not healthy. So for example, I love this being so much that I don't want to let it go, even if it would be better off. It's an extremely hard lesson. So again, allow yourself some grace. Ultimately, this is an inner lesson that you must correct. Another example, leash laws. They exist so that others can enjoy public spaces. And not everyone loves dogs, and that's okay. If you're the kind of person who lets your dog off leash in places where they may encounter others, this indicates your lack of respect for social and literal boundaries. Remember, we're talking about the dog as an extension of you. So allowing it to invade other people's space is not something a mature person would do. Imagine you were sitting on a plane and you accidentally kicked somebody, you would likely apologize. And if you didn't apologize, you'd probably be perceived as insensitive. The same goes when your dog violates another person's space. That dog is your responsibility and a representation of you. So keeping your companion polite and in control in public spaces indicates your respect for others, and it looks better on the dog community too. The same can be said of picking up after your dog. If you don't, it says you're totally okay with littering. And yes, I understand that while animals poop outside, we're talking about a domestic animal as an extension of you and not a wild animal. The rules are a little bit different. So another example, if you're the kind of person that holds your dog in higher regard than most people, this would be the existence of what's called the dog nutter phenomenon. There's lots more videos to be made about that, and most people may not look into it, especially if you're a dog person. You may not want to listen to what other people who seem to hate dogs have to say, but there is certainly something to be gained in listening to somebody who has an opposing opinion from your own. So, and there's lots of people that follow some very extreme doctrine in the anti-dog nutter community, just like there are people in the dog nutter community who are very extreme in their own direction. But again, if you're the kind of person that holds your dog in higher regard than you do other people, this is a huge area that I encourage you to examine a little bit deeper for yourself. While it seems that dogs can have some great qualities, if you believe that a dog is a better substitute in a relationship for a human, it's likely you've been badly hurt by people in your life before, and you're leaning on the seeming unconditional love of a dog. I would know. I've been there. I personally allowed myself to be fiercely loyal to my dogs at the expense of any human relationship that I had, despite the fact that a healthy relationship with a human can be so much more rich and deep than a bond with your pet. And that's not to discount the special place in your heart that your pet can have, so please don't misunderstand that. It's just each within its place. If you sit and deeply contemplate the reasons why you love your dog, and things like unconditional love, no judgment or criticism, and cuddles on your own terms, and I control all aspects of the relationship come to mind for you, these are indicators that you may have some things within you that need addressed when it comes to your interpersonal relationships. And I promise you, as hard as it may be, especially to admit that any of those things may be happening, there is great value in re-examining those mindsets. And I can speak from personal experience because evaluating my relationships to my own personal dogs and the way that I cared for them led me to uncovering a gold mine of things that I needed to straighten out within myself. And it led to better relationships and a much healthier, happier version of me. I still have dogs, but the nature of my relationship to them has changed, and it's for the better. And they lead much healthier lives themselves as a result, too. And ultimately, this is the goal of this channel, to improve our relationships with dogs for both their and our benefit in more ways that can be quantified. So, with that said, I do hope this video was very eye-opening and helpful for you, even if it was difficult to hear. And I would love for you to leave any comments below, anything that came up for you while listening to this video, or any comments that you may have relating to the video. And until next time, paw namaste.